It is Saturday, February 17th, 2024, and we are here for a workshop by Mr. Mohan Krishnan. And I will pass the mic to you, Mr. Mohan Krishnan.
Thank you very much, Eric.
Mohan has been a leader of the storytelling scene in Chennai here for many, many years. So it's a great honor that you're leading this workshop here for us. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Eric. And it's been it's an honor to be a part of the Chennai Storytelling Workshop, the Chennai Storytelling Festival, which Eric has been doing consistently for a fairly long time now. And it's an honor to be a part of this workshop. And today's workshop is titled Learning to Tell Engaging Stories with a Personal Touch. Now, what's this personal touch and what's engaging stories? So let's look at the theory a little bit. And once you understand the theory, we'll see how the whole thing falls in place. When it comes to communication skills, there are 6 major functional steps in communication. The first step is called idea stage. Ideation, where the ideas form. Your factory of thoughts, that's where the ideas form. These ideas are encoded. That's the second stage. The encoded ideas are put in a channel for onward transmission. That's called the channel. The fourth stage is a receipt from the channel, downloading from the channel. The fifth stage is decoding process. Your ideas are decoded. And the last is the response. Very often people tell you that the first 3 stages are in your hand. You can decide. Your ideas are your ideas. How you encode is your business. What channel you put in is your business. But how I receive, how the other person decodes, and how he responds is his business, over which you don't have much control. They give you an example. They say it's like uploading something on, let's say, sending an email. Once you hit the submit button, you have nothing to do about it. You can't do anything about it. But yes, there is an undo button if you want to. And then there is they say, the WhatsApp messages that you send. You couldn't do anything about it once you sent it. Now you can delete it for everyone. You can edit it up to a point. So there is more control over the channels of communication. Now we are trying to understand one channel of communication called storytelling. In storytelling, the beauty of the channel called storytelling is you can have a say. You can have a say right up to the point of response. Right up to the point of response. There's something unique. Unlike the other forms of communication, where you couldn't have control till the response stage. We will see today. That's why I said using storytelling, engaging. When you engage a person, you engage not only the receipt, not only the decoding, you also engage the response. It's like a performance. So that's what we are trying to learn. Okay. Then comes the next thing. What is this personal touch? Personal touch, I will try to answer the question raised by my friend KGY Raman. What kind of stories are we going to try and tell today? The stories can be a personal story. But over a period of time, personal stories have become boring. Okay, because nobody's personal life is boring. Nobody's personal story is boring. But what has happened over a period of time, we have forgotten the art of making our personal story engaging. Who is interested in your personal story? Who is interested in what you had for breakfast? Who is interested in what you're doing now? But yes, if you could engage the person by learning the art of telling stories in such a way that even an ordinary life becomes exciting. And then comes, when we say personal story, a story with a personal touch, you could be the protagonist of your story. Like you could be the central character of your story. Alternatively, you could be the character who saw the story first hand. When you say you read the story in a book, well, it becomes something like an indirect form of learning. I would like to say, yes, I was a witness to this story. The third aspect, okay, which is called the storyteller's freedom. I was never there. Let's say I'm telling you the story of Mark Antony's speech, which Shakespeare wrote in theatre. He never certainly was not there when Mark Antony spoke. But how is the story told? As though he was right there, writing the script of it. Friends, Romans, and countrymen, I have come here to bury Caesar, and not to praise him. So now you bring in all the emotions of as though you are present. These are the three important forms of telling stories with a personal touch. So what we'll do today, we have 2 full hours till 13:00 hours India Standard Time. I would be very happy if each one of you shared something. It would be wonderful to listen to you. And if you're going to share it in a language, try and see that you use accent neutral expressions so that all of us can understand. You don't have to try to put on an accent. Try to use a neutral accent. Try. Otherwise, go ahead. We'll try and understand. If there are problems, you can always put it in the chat box. I would like each one of you to tell a story. I will start with the story, and you can have in your story elements of drama, elements of poetry, and elements of music. When I say music, you could sing. If not, you could use suspenseful sound. What happened next? Ta-da! You could use any of these expressions. Okay? They're all acceptable. What happened next? Hush. You can use all of them. Okay, let's try this. Now, I'm going to share a story with a personal touch. Never ask a storyteller whether this happened for real. Never ask a storyteller this question. So this is a story which I'm going to share with you with a personal touch. One day, in recent times, when I say recent times, and not less than 45 days ago or 2 months ago, you see, as I'm growing older, there are certain things the elderly person faces. One, you can't sleep for long. Even if you sleep for a short while, tossing, most of the time is spent tossing and turning around. So that's why a lot of elderly people decide to sleep alone, not because their marriages have failed, but they don't want to disturb the partner. The tossing and turning around does not disturb the partner. So you keep tossing and turning around. And one more aspect is your prostate gland has started weakening. So you have to get up to go to the washroom several times. If it's several times, you need medical attention. If it's more than once, it's okay. No. And then it's dark. So you should be pretty careful about how you walk. Otherwise, you end up breaking a thing or two, which takes a long time to heal. So let's say it's one of those days at night, midnight, beyond 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and I get up and find my way gingerly into the washroom. We don't know where the switch is. Okay, by habit, we are very good at all these things when it's in your own spot. You do all that, and as you look at the mirror, it scares you. You're scared by what? Hey, what happened to those lustrous black ones? It's all gone. I'm saying black because I'm from India. Where's your blonde and where's your redhead or whatever? They're gone, all gray. And what little left, there's more head than hair. Okay. And then look into the mirror. Hey, the ones blue gray eyes or whatever color of the eyes are all watery and misty. Then you realize you aren't even shaved properly. Yesterday, shaved some bristles here and there. Your eyesight is failing. Teeth loosening. And then walking itself is a project. You come back to your bed with a great amount of pain, and what's the thought that strikes you? I am no longer worth it. It's okay saying I become older. It's okay saying I am weaker. But the dominant thought is, I am no longer worthy. That lets loose a chain of thoughts. Okay? It happened to the protagonist. Let loose a chain of thoughts. So if you're no longer worthy, what's the following thought? No one cares for me. No one bothers. No one really wants to know what is it that I want in life. That's the thought process. So body weakening, emotionally I'm weakening. And let's say I'm a person with a great amount of devotion. My devotion also weakens. Look at the chain of thoughts. Even God doesn't like me anymore. But this is what somebody told me once. Even God doesn't like me. Forget people, man. Even God doesn't like me. Once upon a time, the protagonist was a good singer. Now, when he tries to sing, there is more puffing of air than words. Even before he sings one line, there's a lot of huff and puff. Okay. So this is the thought process. You have come to, let's say there's a movie and you're making it into a movie. Let's say you're making it into a 1 hour, 12-minute movie. I don't know what is this 1 hour, 12 minutes, but somehow the 72 number seems to be fascinating. I don't know what's the origin of it. So 1 hour, 12-minute movie, 72-minute movie, and you've made 36 minutes over. I'm not going to tell you the story first half for 36 minutes. 36 minutes are over. You go for the interval, perhaps grab a packet of potato chips or something and a drink. Then many of us oldies are afraid to have a drink in a cinema house. Because in between, when the climax is on, you have to rush to the washroom again. And then the climax goes out of the window or down the drain. So, this is a movie or this is a story in which the second half is dramatically opposite to the first half. The first half is full of sadness. I'm old. I'm not worthy. I'm not physically capable. I seem to have lost it all. The interval doesn't say interval. It just uses 3 letters. B-U-T, but, in capital letters. So you come back. And how do you look at this? How does the scenario change in the story? I'm old. Okay. Now you can repeat with me if you like. Okay. I'm old, but I am alive. I'm old, but I'm alive. I'm old, but I can still see. I'm old, but I can still smile. I'm old, but I can giggle. I'm old, but I can chuckle. I'm old. I can do a guffaw and laugh out aloud. Hey, look carefully. There's a sparkle in my eye. There's a spark of liveliness in my eye. I'm alive. My aliveness shines through my eye. I can still crack a joke. Maybe it is 60 years old, but still I can crack a joke. And there are still people who will find it funny and they'll laugh. Maybe hearing is weakened, but I can hear. And I have good friends who can give me a good attention. I have a friend here, Dr. Arvind. All I have to do, doctor, I can't hear properly. He'll possibly give me a quick solution. Okay. More importantly, maybe I can't sing and perform like a soprano, but I can still sing. A worse comes worse. I can sing under the shower without care. Nobody bothers. Okay. I can still walk. I can eat with my own cutlery, use my hands to eat, use my cutlery or my hands for eating. I can still give myself a healthy bath. I can very importantly dress myself. You know something, people in India from the uh, denomination called Hindus, they like to appear a tilak. You know what is fascinating for a person who cannot even move? If he can look into the mirror, forget the mirror, even without looking into the mirror, if he can put a tilak at the center of his forehead, he thinks he's an achieved, accomplished soul. There are so many things that I can do on my own. So, what do I have to tell people? I am still worth its while. I am alive. I love being alive. I have a lot more to contribute. More importantly, don't write me off. Don't write me off. And if you write me off, it's your loss, not mine. Very importantly, I'm capable of loving unconditionally. I don't have any demands on you. I love because it's nice to love. I have no demands. I have no demands that you should please me so that you have to love, so that I love you. I'm happy just unconditionally. I have lots to contribute. There is so much joy to contribute. I don't whine about what's the problem. Hey, let me share with you something personally. I'm running a fever right now. Right now, I'm running a fever. At 10:54, when Eric called me, eyes were burning because I was running a fever. I popped one of those paracetamols. And then I'm not going to let this fever spoil this 2 hour workshop of mine. The fever can wait. It can come back virulent or more later, but not for the next 2 hours. Folks, quite simply, the art of engaging storytelling is take the protagonist, spin a story round. It can be a personal story, it can be a humorous story, it can be a sad story, but always remember there has to be a but in which the story has to turn around. Otherwise, nobody is interested. You are not able to engage people beyond the channel stage, beyond the decoding, beyond the channel stage, because nobody is interested in your sob story. But if you can turn the story around and show hopes after the receipt, if you can imagine what is it that he wants at that point of time, if he's motivated enough to see that story, motivated enough to go to the end of the story, and motivated enough to respond. It's not just a response, it is desired response. I want a response from you. Okay. There are a number of, I think there may be just all of you, 28 people, all of you do not understand a language called Hindi, but never mind. I'll sing 2 lines from a song in Hindi and I'll explain it to you. There are 2 lines of a song and I'll explain it. दर्द है सारी जिंदगी जिसका कोई सिला नहीं, जिसका कोई सिला नहीं. So one part of my ego says, hey, your life is painful, there is no cure. Then the alter ego comes and sings to you and says, दर्द से गम से बदगुमान हो, गम के, this it goes something. गम से बदगुमान हो. Let me quickly get the words. I missed the words. Very quickly, let me get the words. It can happen in storytelling. You can mess your lines, but don't appear messed up. Okay. It's perfectly okay when you're telling stories, you mess your line. And it doesn't mean, excuse me, let me look up the lines. And people will be patient, and they're human beings listening to other human beings. Yes, just a minute, I'll get you. Well, what I want to do, I want to give it to you. Oh, there you are. There you are. See, I got it. While I hear you. So, what was the first line? दर्द है सारी जिंदगी जिसका कोई सिला नहीं. So, life is painful, there is no cure. So, the alter ego says, दर्द से खुद से बदगुमान हो, खुद पे एतबार कर, सुबह जरूर आएगी, सुबह का इंतजार कर, गम की अंधेरी रात में. Okay, it's quite simply mean, don't quit on yourself. खुद से तो बदगुमान हो. Let the world quit on you, but you don't quit on yourself. हाँ, खुद से तो बदगुमान हो, खुद पे तो एतबार कर. You hold on tightly to yourself. सुबह जरूर आएगी, it will dawn. सुबह का इंतजार कर, wait for it to dawn. I would like to conclude this story by saying a small verse. Again, there's a song, there is also a verse, a little bit of poetry here. There's a work called the Bhagavad Gita, in which the teacher tells the student, Atmasya Atmana Bandhuhu, Atmasya Ripuratmanaha. Atmasya, you are your own best friend. Atmasya Atmana Bandhuhu. Atmasya Ripu. Ripu means enemy. Ripuratmanaha. Therefore, don't let yourself down. Don't quit on yourself. That's the effect of the story. I'd planned for about 30 minutes. So it's 28 minutes now. So always remember, stop your story when people are asking, is it over? Why? Don't wait for people to say, how long more? Can I take one more washroom break? Okay, wonderful. I'm old, but I'm alive. I'm happy. I'm capable of doing things like others. So I am worth it. Wonderful. Excellent, Muktagar. Excellent view. Okay. Now, there are 30 participants. You take 5 minutes maximum 5 minutes. Okay. In those 5 minutes, if you want, I can put you into breakout rooms where you can discuss, or there's an alternative because I find a number of people are not on the camera as such. So what you can possibly do is, what I can suggest to you is grab a notepad and grab a pen that writes. Why I say this, a lot of people we have forgotten the art of writing these days. There was a time every morning. Every morning I write a page. So many of us have forgotten the art of writing. All of us are into this device. And now I don't think we need 4 fingers anymore. We need only one thumb. The other 4 can be hinged together. And then we type messages, and when you type messages, all kinds of wrong messages come in. Somebody sent me a message the other day. Mohan, my beast friend. I said, oh my God. When did I become a beast, man? And when did I become how can I? And maybe, he has a dog as a pet. I don't know. So, and then rest of the time goes in, how do I correct it? But I've already read the beast friend. So grab a notepad, write a few lines about the story. Write the story, the synopsis of the story, which you're going to share with. And for once 5 minutes are over, it's 11:30 is the time now. At 11:35, Eric will throw the floor open and you can raise your hands. Not this way, but you can go to the reaction sign and raise your hands. We will unmute you and you can tell me in your story in 5 minutes maximum. 5 minutes maximum, I would like to read. If number of hands, if 30 hands go up, I will reduce the time. And you can tell me the story in case you're going to tell me a story in some other language other than English, you will have to provide for telling the story in that language and also in English. You'll have to translate for me side by side. It's as slow like, this English subtitles. We'll have to take everybody's interest in mind. Okay. Any comments on the story, please put it in the chat box. And the last 10 minutes, we'll throw the floor open so that everyone can have a say. Right? Game. Okay. The time is all yours. It's 11:31, your 4 minutes. I love this song, it helped me change certain outlook in life. That's why I sing that song very often. Honki andheri raat mein dil ko na beqarar kar, subah zarur aayegi, subah ka intezar. When you hit rock bottom, don't give up. And you will rise. The sun will rise and you will rise along with it. The lovely poem. I sing that very often whenever you hit rock bottom. Even when I know I'm going to hit rock bottom, I start singing the song so that I'm picked up halfway. Over to you. I won't disturb you for 3 more minutes. Raman, would you like a story to be recorded?
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Carry on.
But I don't know whether it is worth recording. That is
No.
a different issue.
No, this theme is about feeling worthy. So we are not going to talk about whether we are worth it.
My
We
net
are
connection. My net connection is a bit unstable.
That's okay.
So
no
you will excuse me if my camera. I switch off my camera because that way connectivity reestablishes.
No,
Okay.
your sound and picture are coming fine.
Yes,
I would suggest if you can stabilize your camera, if you can put it on a chair or table or something.
No. It is just the laptop embedded camera.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine.
Yes, sir. Now to the
Please go
story.
ahead. Yeah.
I thought that you don't, that the choice is not for stories which have a tragic characteristic aspect to it. I don't know, but a life is a matrix of several feelings. With this preamble, I start my story. This happened in our family. So I won't tell you who it is. Let us just tell this story. I am telling the story, the generalized way. Okay. One, one lady in the family dies. Her sister is living some 700 to 800 miles away across 3 different states. Okay. Now, as soon as the message of death was received, they wanted to go to the place to just offer condolences. But the time was not quite right. There was some disturbances going on in the place where they lived. And after a great struggle, they secured the two, one gentleman and his wife. They secured train tickets to go to that far place. Okay. Now, they were traveling in a crowded train. It so happened. Can I request Mohan sir, you have to mute your mic. Okay. So, the gentleman was hard of hearing. He could not hear a sound. And his wife, who accompanied him, was also having a partial hearing loss. She could hear, but only when you speak with an effort. And when they entered the train was crowded like that, just like that. You know, in the 1980s and 90s, train travel was not that comfortable. It was even a reserved compartment. There was too much crowd, too much luggage, and too much people. So it happened that their seats were far apart. And after a lunch in the train compartment itself, they go to their respective berths and prepare to take a nap. Okay. Now time passes and it is now time for the evening tea or coffee. We South Indians, we prefer coffee. I think north of Vindhyas or whatever, tea is their favorite drink. Now, this gentleman got down, got a cup of coffee, drank it, bought another cup and carefully brings it to the train and goes and tries to wake up his wife, but she would not wake up from her slumber. Try hard as he might, because he could not hear. He is not able to hear whatever is being said. Says he was going on tapping. Nothing happened. And some co-passenger said, "Oh, you are hitting that lady. She is my wife." Trying to wake her up to give her this coffee. And he also tried clapping his hands near her ears, jerking her feet or that. Nothing happened. So at this point of time, they were aware that something was seriously wrong. She would not wake up. So they decided to get down in the next train stop. The train stopped somewhere between the two states. One is Gujarat, and they were moving to Tamil Nadu. It stopped somewhere, we don't know where. Details are not known. And the lady was physically downloaded from the train and laid on the platform. A small crowd gathers. What's wrong? And this gentleman can speak only in Tamil. He knows no other language. He can only gesticulate or talk in Tamil. He tried telling them. Then he danced his message out. Coffee. She is not picking up. We beat her, not waking up. So we have somebody help, help, help. And then a small crowd gathers, somebody warned, where are you from? And he says someplace, oh, I was in Mannargudi. He was saying Tirukatupalli, which is a small village. I was in Mannargudi. Suddenly this man says, he said Mannargudi. My cousin was there as a headmaster. What's his name? His name is XYZ. That rings a bell. He says, I am the student of the teacher. It is my duty to help you because you are related to my guru. And so they begin, lifted their lady, unconscious lady, obviously unconscious lady, and started to find a hospital. After much struggle, they will go find a doctor, knock on his door and wake him up. He takes one look, puts a stethoscope, opens the eyes and says, I am sorry, this patient is dead. And here is this man who can speak no other language with one friend to help him, left somewhere middle between Gujarat and Tamil Nadu with a dead person in his hands. And in that time, great riots were going on in Gujarat because of the Hindu-Muslim conflict there, 2002, I think. What to do? And somebody suggests, you hire a taxi and go, don't try other forms of. And try as he might. No taxi wala was coming forward to take a dead person in a vehicle to Gujarat. A dead Hindu person to Gujarat. And then after some struggle, they did at last to find, and they wanted an air-conditioned vehicle because there is the fear of decomposition. After struggle and using the local man's influence, they got a Tata Sumo air-conditioned, put the body, came back. At 20-25 stops, they explained to the police what happened, time and again. And at last, the body was back home. This is not a story. This is an incident that happened to us. A story, thinking of stories. Stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. But life's experience do not have, they have a beginning. They have the middle, but the end. Who can say? Naalai nadappadai yaar arivar, they say in Tamil. Who knows what is going to happen tomorrow? Somebody goes to condole the death of somebody dies in the process, and there is such a huge struggle bringing the body back home. This is my story, sir. I don't know how you will react to this.
Nobody sits on judgment on any other person's story. And that's, how do I read your name? Maxchild? Leah, how do I read your name? Maxchild?
Yes, that's fine. It's Mechthild.
Maxchild, yeah, Maxchild, yeah. That's the sign, and that shows, the applause shows, it doesn't mean that people are joyful about the story. The sadness does touch, the emotion does touch. It means we like the way you told the story. And as
Yeah.
was, we like the way you told the story. Yeah, you could give him the feedback yourself.
Yes, I think it was very nicely narrated. I like the personal touch, and it was very deep, and so many thanks.
Wonderful. That's nice. Wonderful. Okay, the next storyteller, are you ready? You can raise your hand. Can I see a hand raised somewhere? Don't be hesitant. Come forward. Tell your story. I would like a hand raised. Great to hear. Yeah. Anybody else would like to study it? Yeah, and yeah, in which case, till the next story gets ready, each storyteller will bring in the flavor from the way he has learned this language. Like when Raman tells a story, it will be told in English, all right, but the thinking will be in Tamil. So the English expressions will have a lot of Tamil flavor. Instead of saying several times, the persons from Tamil Nadu will possibly say, he told me again and again and again. Because in Tamil we say, திரும்ப 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 சொல்லுவோம். So it's translated word to word. So that those flavors add sheen to your own story. Own nice little way you tell your story. Own little way. It's fun. Okay. So the accent, the flavors, the expressions will all have their place. Yeah, the next storyteller, are you ready? Who's going to be the next storyteller? Would Mechtil like to tell a story? You're welcome.
Well, actually, I wasn't quite prepared. Perhaps there was, because I had the Albanian list, but I was assuming that we had the workshop impactful body language and vocal technique. So I was more prepared on learning something.
Okay.
So I don't think it would be much of an interest for you to listen.
Okay, what I would suggest is when, of course, this vocal technique. I wouldn't like to go. I would like you to go back disappointed. I will definitely introduce a little bit of vocal techniques here, and the screen available will also include a certain body language aspects. Just a few brief expressions. See, when we use our voice, people who tell stories for children, they assume that talking always means, say, when you say the monkey talks, you don't have to go about and chirp like a monkey. And then if you say a crow is talking, you don't have to say, caw, caw. This is what the crow wants to say. You don't have to do all that. That's called, what do you call it? That is caricature. That's not storytelling. The voice has 4 variations. Yeah, Muktaji, I'll come back. The voice has 4 variations. You have what is called the pitch. Pitch is when you use, let's take a scenario. A child is going towards something dangerous and you are at quite a distance. You want to stop the child from going there. You're not going to use polite language, Queen's English and things like that. You're going to use one word, hey, and the child will stop where it is going. So you can use the pitch powerfully to get people's attention that you are proceeding towards danger. Then you're going to talk about something grave. A gas plant exploded and we lost 500 lives. Now this is called a tomba. When we talk gravity, okay, you use tomba. Then many of us speak in a very, a narrative like a newsreader. This morning, Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. This morning, somebody fell under a truck and got run over. There is no variation at all. Landing of Neil Armstrong on the moon should show a certain expressive emotional up. And then somebody falling down has to show that, and the narrative has to show that fall. So this is called building emotions and modulation in our voice. So there is pitch, there is timbre, and then you have to discover the texture of your voice. What's your voice? Is your voice a squeaky voice? Is it a nasal voice? Is it a deep baritone? Variation up to an extent is possible. And I, as a teenager, and much wild as a teenager, even today, love a person's voice. And however much I try, I'm not able to mimic it. I'll try giving you a dialogue of that person. Tell me whose voice is it. My name is Captain Marlowe. My name is Captain Marlowe. I am Joe Brady from New York Times. It's Gregory Peck. I've been trying to mimic his voice for ages. You come somewhere 15%. So that's when I learned. And they are two of his landmark movies, Guns of Navarone and Roman Holiday. So, so one of the things you try to do is never be an echo, be a voice. These are certain voice management lessons. And if I can have the whole screen, okay, if I can go on whole screen, I'm going to speaker mode. I'm going on speaker mode. Yeah, I'll show you certain hand languages. Like for instance, never point a finger. Okay. When you point a finger, let the song go on your head. When you point a finger at your neighbor, there are 3 more pointing back at you. So always refer to the audience this way. When I point a finger at you, your psychological reaction is you go back. When I show my hands out like you, your psychological reaction is you come forward. This is inviting. Okay, you can use this without much movement. You can use the hand. Far away, nearby. Oh, here, just here. This frame is good, just here. A little far. We have had to take a few steps. It was wavy. And always remember, very powerful tool. Eyebrows, eyes, very powerful tools. Practice in front of your mirror, if possible. This is an exercise you can try at home. Smile and watch the expression in your eyes. See when you smile, how the eyes glow. So very often when we smile, it becomes a pasty movie camera smile or a flash camera smile or a selfie smile when you're not smiling with your eyes. So this is one exercise I recommend to everyone in the morning. Smile with your eyes and talk to yourself. Hey, how are you? Good. Have a nice day. Your eyes, eyebrows become more expressive. They're wonderful tips for effective storytelling. Thank you. I could cover some aspects of what Michael wanted. If with these inputs you would like to add something, you can. The floor is yours for a. Would you like to? Something from Albania? That's a part of the world which not many people know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maxwell, you would like to say something? I mean,
I just meant I had the Albanian timeline.
Okay.
I'm personally I'm in Germany, so it's just we all have about 7:30 now, so it's the Albanian timetable, not the normal, the Indian one. That was all. I'm not in Albania.
Good. Thank you for being with us. It's wonderful to have you here. Mukta Garg had put up her hand. Would you like to? Anybody else would see the floor is open. You are free to tell story.
I could tell a little. It can be any type of story, right?
Yeah, any type of story. It need not be a story with a personal touch. Yeah, I would welcome Eric.
Yes.
Keep the thing going.
Yesterday, my good wife pointed out to me that the water was leaking from the, we have these big water bottles, which we turn upside down and you put it in a base, and the base has a nozzle. I think everybody in India knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And sometimes it leaks. So yesterday it was leaking. So my wife very correctly said, Eric, it seems we have to get a new piece. I'll do a screen share. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that it is. Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. You see that nozzle there? So water was coming out, not from the front part, but from the part where it connects to the plastic base. So I went to a nearby shop and bought one. It's very inexpensive, and brought it home and put the water in, and again the water was leaking.
Oh,
So then I went to Mylapore, to a big shop, and got it home. Again, the water was leaking. You know, I was wondering what is going on here. Finally, I went nearby on Vallavakotam here, and I went to a shop where it happened that the man there had experience with this, and he knew how to tighten the. You see, when these things are shipped to a shop, many times the nozzle is not connected, and the shop owners have to connect the nozzle themselves. So this particular man, before he gave it to me, he tightened it. He really tightened it. And not, you know, you don't tighten things too much because you'll break it, but he tightened it well. And I took it home and it's fine. So I not only succeeded in getting a piece that worked, but now for the rest of all time, I know where to go.
Oh, yeah, you know where to go.
To find a man who really knows what he's doing. And what I realized is that if water is leaking from where the nozzle touches the plastic, I don't have to get an entire new piece. It just has to be tightened.
Yeah, that's a lot of learning, and that's a nice story, useful for all of us.
Yes, and it's just given me a sense of security that next time this happens, I don't have to go running around to 5 different shops and get 5 different bad pieces. I just have to go to this guy, and either he can tighten the one I have, or he can sell me a new one. They only cost 120 rupees.
Yeah, that's right.
But I wasted more money than that, going and coming. But now I feel confident about the future.
So, though the story, the workshop, yeah, while the story, the workshop was based on telling engaging stories with a personal touch. You can tell stories, anything heard, read, or write a story with a different end if you would like. If you would like to rewrite the ending, you're welcome. So if there's a story which you know, which you've heard very often, but if you could rewrite the ending, it's fine. Lot of such stories. And engaging stories with a personal touch, or stories as such, can be used. These days, it's become a very important training tool. When they invite you for training, especially when they invite you for training the senior personnel, the executives and general managers and above of a bank or any institution, the first question they ask you is, can you tell stories? And I was a banker for a very long time. For 35 years of my life, I was working in the central banking system of India. So I know a lot about banking and more. I know about manual banking. I know digital banking. I know what kind of banking we are going to have in the future. I know what we can bank on as well. So I'm invited to tell stories. You know, when I go to the digital banking counters, they ask me to tell stories. So please, can you tell stories of manual banking? I say, what is manual banking? You have a check drawn on the State Bank of India. I'm using bank names in India. State Bank of India, one particular branch. You go to the next branch and say, can I draw money? They say, no, you have to go to that branch. Now you can draw anywhere. And there's a very interesting banking story. They once said there was a gentleman who had a cross check. You know, a check, there are two lines drawn on top. That's called a cross check. A cross check means you cannot draw money across the bank's counters. You have to put it into your account, and the bank will collect the money from the other bank and credit it to your account. It's a 3-day process. Okay. So there was a gentleman who walked into a bank. Let's take two banks for just name. The State Bank of India and ICICI Bank, two banks. He walks into the State Bank of India and says, I have a check, can you encash it for me? Now this man says, this is drawn on ICICI Bank. So you have to either go to ICICI Bank and encash it. And as there are two lines on top, you have to deposit it here and come back after 2 days to get your money from me. So this fellow gets wild. He says, this bank is across the road. And you want me to draw two lines and come back after 2 days. What the hell is happening? I don't understand banking of this type. So the State Bank of India fellow had a very nice answer. He said, sit down, I would like to give you a cup of tea and then explain the process. He says, you're standing in front of a cemetery. You fall dead. Can you be buried right away? They'll take you to a hospital. They'll certify you dead. Somebody will perhaps perform an autopsy to find out you died under normal circumstances. Okay, they would want to do an autopsy to check whether you died under normal circumstances. They'll wait for the next of the kin and then send you for appropriate disposal. So this fellow said, please don't give me such horrific examples. I understand banking now. So you can convert a banking story into a hilarious story if you want it. So yeah, anybody in the line who would like to tell a story? If Dr. Arvind, if you have the time, if you're free from your... Yeah.
Yes, sir. Just a minute. What happened to myself, I will tell. I don't know.
Dr.
Not a
Arvind,
very good storyteller.
Dr. Arvind Dixit, for my friend, is for my friend, for the information of all of you, is an ENT surgeon based in Bombay. And
I'm in Kerala, sir.
You're in Kerala.
I'm in Kerala.
You're in Kerala.
Kerala.
So
even though I am from Karnataka, I'm
you're
still
in Kerala. Okay. And
yes.
Then
So
we are very good friends, and we work in a platform together called Seniors Today. He is an amazing singer, and he's also very good. And he's very effective. And then between surgeries, he comes, sings a song, and runs for surgery. Over to you, Dr. Arvind. And then Tarun Murugesh can be the next storyteller.
okay, we the ENT surgeons, we are supposed to save people in emergencies, like for example, somebody is taking food and something in the throat, some foreign body gets stuck in the throat. So immediately some procedures have to be done, and you can save the patient within a few seconds or minutes. But the thing is, even though we are so much of experience in this subject, are you hearing, sir?
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
You're hearing? No. So we will be always afraid of doing such procedure, because either the patient lives or the patient dies within 2-3 minutes. So the story which I am telling is, it happened about some 8 months back. I went to a hotel nearby to purchase a parcel. I ordered for the food and I was waiting for the food. In the meantime, a family was sitting inside taking food, and the child had some problem. Immediately, everybody was shouting and all that. And the mother of the child was holding the child and running out. The child was actually limping, not breathing at all, and they didn't know what to do. I was just waiting there, an ENT surgeon, just outside the hotel, waiting, and I rather dare not do such a procedure, but there was no other go to do. So I just forcibly took the child away from the mother, and there is a procedure called Heimlich procedure. So they hold the child from behind with the arms and the fingers tied in front of the abdomen and make a thrusting movement. One thrust, nothing happened. Second thrust, nothing happened. Third thrust, the child was fully active and standing. So
Yeah.
I was very much relieved that I have saved the patient. But the surrounding people, they told, no, take the child to a big hospital, get the child investigated properly. So, so again,
Yes.
anyway, they took the child away, and after 6 months back, the child was brought to me for some other purpose, and my relations were also sitting, and they told, "Oh, this is the child you had saved." And immediately the father of the child told, "No, sir, immediately we took the child to a big hospital nearby, got her investigated, everything was normal."
Yeah.
This was the story.
Yeah. Good. Very nice. Yeah.
Second,
You
one more story. It's not
Yeah,
a story actually.
please
It
go
is
ahead.
regarding my wife. What is the relation between story, weaving a story, and memory?
Okay.
Because my wife remembers all the date of births of all my friends, her friends, our relatives, all birthdays she remembers. Probably she weaves a story amongst the dates and days. So that is how she remembers. I was really wondering what is the relation between weaving a story and remembering the dates.
Wow.
Every day morning she will get up and say, "Today is this person's birthday."
Yeah. Some people
So
have
I
this
wanted to share
amazing
it.
capacity of remembering. Yeah, that is wonderful, Dr. Arvind. It's a fact because some people have an amazing capacity of remembering birthdays. Others don't remember everybody's birthday other than their wife's birthday.
Yes, me.
And they have a hell of a time.
Yeah.
I cannot but admire my mother, my late mother. Yes, Shamla, you can tell a story. I'll come back. My late mother had a unique way of remembering who is older, who is younger. She never knew the birthdays, but she'll always say, she'll point to my cousin and say, she is older to you by 6 months. Oh, yeah, Hema Nalini, you're welcome. Yeah. So you can, she always used to say that she'll point to my cousin and say, he is older. I say, how do you know? She will say, when we were celebrating, we went for such and such a wedding. He was a 3-month-old and I was carrying you. So that was a way of remembering that fellow is older to me.
Yeah, yes, yes. They related to that, yes.
Yeah, she had a knack of remembering who was born on what occasion and who was at what stage. She says, at this stage, you weren't married, so you couldn't have had the child, unless there was divine intervention or some other intervention. So, so some people have this unique knack. Wonderful, Dr. Arvind. Yeah. Now, Tarun Murugesh had put up his hand. You're welcome. After Tarun Murugesh, I would like Shamla to tell a story. Can you share a story? Yes. And yes, after that, Hemama Naliji.
Namaste. Hi.
Namaste.
So I could
Hi.
relate to Dr. Arvind what he said, the Dr. Heimlich maneuver. I'm a first aid trainer as well, and indeed he was a lifesaver that day. So kudos and a big claps to him. The back slabs and the Heimlich maneuver definitely help save people who are choking. So my story is related to my real life experience of how I'm a lifesaver and a first aid trainer today. So something that happened by chance became my choice profession for me being a full-time lifesaver. So many years back, late 2007, when we went to Bali, Indonesia, I traveled with Amma and a group of ladies from the Duchess Club. And that's when accidentally, on purpose, a lady was pushed in for her birthday. So this was after midnight 12 into the pool, the biggest swimming pool. And it was the shallow. And it was also a steep slope to the deep. And there was clearly signs, no lifeguard on duty. So this Akka decided to remain in the water, being fully clothed. And I saved her camera also as well that day, being the youngest in the group. So after a time, she drifted to the deep and she also started pulling in the other two ladies who were there with her. Yeah, and there could have been 3 victims that night. So when these other 2 ladies shouted, help, help, and I heard them luckily across the hall, and where in the kitchen I was drying the camera with a hairdryer. I ran across and caught a hold of the ladies, but they said, go help Miss R. I would not like to mention her name. Let her be anonymous. So when I went to R, she was already fully inside the water with an arm's length away from the wall.
Oh,
But the thing is, when you drown, you don't have the common sense or the presence of mind to stretch your hand, horizontally, but you're only trying to go vertically, but you just go down like climbing a ladder, but you're just going down and down. So I just went, from bottom, I just lifted her up and she came up and she took a deep breath of air. So, and then everyone came running and lifted her up, and then she was okay after an hour, and then she still came and cut her cake. It was a late birthday celebration.
that's nice.
Yeah, but the moral of the story or the outcome is today she's afraid of water hydrophobia, which is very sad. That day I was there and I happened to save her. Tomorrow when I'm not there around, if she gets pushed into water and we have more water than land, I think she should just learn swimming. Yeah, but also the key takeaways is this is when fun can turn to tragic. When someone was pushed in for her birthday, and if it was fatal, if she ended up dying, her birth rate and death date would have been the same day, which would have been very, very ironical and very, very sad. So, and I narrated this incident to Dr. Sadavel Kailasam of Ashwini Soundra Nursing Home in Chennai, and he was part of the organization and told me to get into professional life saving. And thanks to that, today I've trained over 26,000 people from all walks of life, and I'm proud to be a full-time lifesaver.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's excellent. I think we should have Tarun Murugesh have an exclusive session on how to save people from various sessions in the form of stories.
Sure, love to.
Like the moment you said, instead of giving us telling us how to save lives, suppose you told it in the form of a story, it will be more engaging and I'll remember it forever.
Absolutely, Mohan.
You never get into that's why you don't ever get into the pool fully closed.
Absolutely, true that. Yeah.
And then sometimes rather than, this is a very good thing, rather than do the ladder climbing, all I did was to keep floating. That was an amazing bit of visual. I'll always remember this.
Sure. Thank you.
Amazing, See, the moment, you're drowning, you don't do this. You keep it like this. The water will push you up.
Yes.
It's amazing, Tarun, the wonderful bit of storytelling. I really loved it. May I now invite Shamla? Shamla, are you here? You are ready for your story?
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be sharing an anecdote. Actually, think
Can you come on camera,
in
please?
our life, which am I audible?
You're audible, but can you? Yeah, you're on. Yeah, now I'm able to see you as well. And yeah, Shamla is a good friend from Chennai. We have been in storytelling 4 hours together. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, so these anecdotes, when we actually are a part of it, it seems embarrassing. But then when we later look back, it seems like an eye opener. We learn from it, we laugh at it, and we just learn to carry on and shed off our embarrassment. So this happened when a long time back, when I was a teacher, I was teaching the upper kindergarten children. And generally around 2:45, the day is called off and they get ready to have their snack before moving on to their buses or, parents to take home. But unfortunately, during that period, the grandparents cannot wait to take the children back home. Those 15 minutes extra, they want to stay from the school time and take the children away. And as a teacher, I was very well known not to send any child home before the actual snack is given and a proper buy for the day is done. Because the last 15 minutes, we go through the day and it is a time when children can chat. There is no restriction. They will share. There'll be a lot of musty and noise. So that particular day, it was one of such a happy session where there was a lot of thumping and all sorts of noise. And suddenly, from the window, I could see the top of a gray-haired person standing. And immediately my first thought was still 10 more minutes. Can this person not wait it out to take his child home? So I ignored that. And then slowly the head, stood taller so that I could see a bit of his forehead, and then the two eyes, and I could make out it was an elderly gentleman standing outside. But I proceeded to ignore. And then there was a light tap on the door, and 5 more minutes were there. I could have afforded to let go that 5 minutes, but knowing that it was precious to the children, I held on to that and I just peeped out. And my first snap out was, "Sir, can you just give that extra 5 minutes to that child to say bye to his day and then go home with some happy memories to take home?" So the person outside, he looked at me and he smiled. But when he saw my frowning face, he too frowned and he felt embarrassed. "I just want the key," he said. "Sir, you expect your child to have the key. You're supposed to be responsible to hold the key." "No, I have to go outstation and I want the home key." "Okay, sir. But still, I find this is very silly." Then he said, "Shamla, please, can I have the key?" And then it broke my thought, like I looked at that stranger, and guess what? It turned out to be my husband. So out in that scenario, my husband didn't fit and I didn't see him. I only saw him as an anxious grandparent waiting to snatch the child away, and nothing registered. And then it took quite a lot of pulling back from my school mental jacket to my personal wife role. And then I said, "I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you." And I think that was an awful thing, which till date I apologize to him. This is a thing I wanted to share.
Amazing, really a personal touch. Next time, a lot of people will remember. Teachers have to particularly remember. Amazing, amazing.
Thank you.
There's an amazing story I once read. There's a couple married for 60 years, and then this person used to call her sugar, honey, and sweetheart, and sweetie pie, and chocolates, and things like that. So another guy said, "You see, I can't get along with my wife for 10 years, and you with 60 years still call her chocolate and sweetie pie and cherry. Oh God, I forgot her name 60 years ago. And this is the only way I can keep peace at home." Wonderful. Shamla reminds me of the story. Hemanalni ji, please come on. Tell us a story you wanted to share.
Yes,
Is
sir.
it?
This
Yeah,
is
there's Hemanalni. Yeah, Hemanalni ji.
anybody in waiting, sir?
No. Anybody
Yeah.
can tell a story. Welcome. No problem at all.
Just no, sir. Just I want to tell about my personal experience. So, as Aravind ji, I am also a medical professional. I am a medical doctor, sir.
Yeah. What is your specialty?
I did MBBS from Guntur College. Yeah, and I also did diploma in adults and health.
Okay.
So, in my general practice, now I used to practice in slum areas in government, sir. So I found that I am into the meditation and also the yoga practice also. And with the experience, I know that certain things are not told in our books and in our syllabus. And so many things, that is more than 90% of cases are diseases are psychosomatic. That I know with my experience. So how I used to treat my patients is many a times, no, sir, skin diseases and also such certain migraine headaches, they don't get relieved of pain. They go from one hospital to another hospital, get investigated, MRI, CT scan and all, but they won't get any relief, sir. So in that case, the psychology and the belief system, the trust in the doctor and the medicine, it works, sir. It was practiced in our ancient medicine also, in Ayurveda and also and other such things. In family doctor systems also, it was practiced a lot. So what I used to do is, in my practice, with such cases, with some migraine headache or chronic backache and joint pains and stomach ache, certain things, I know that there is nothing organic or serious. In that such cases, what I used to do is, I would ask the patient to come back again in another week. I used to give some medicine and send them away. And after that, I used to ask them, there's some research is being going on. So I can get that medicine from US or somewhere else. It's not available in our India, in our place. So it takes some time to get that medicine. I used to tell and send them away. And after 1 week, they used to come back. They used to come back. And I used to take one B complex tablet or some tablet or something like that. Or even a sugar pill, no, sir, like homeopathy pills. I used to them, and I used to take away the wrap and put it in some small box or some packing in some silver foil or something like that, and give them. So this is very expensive and very precious and very powerful also. So you should not take only in emergency. Only you have to take. I used to make the patient sit there, and in front of me, I used to ask my ayah to take that medicine very carefully and let her drink with some only half cup of water or tea, something special I used to tell, so that she can believe in that medicine. So she used to take and wait there for some time. I used to just act like checking her BP and heartbeat. And so she used to get, yeah, really very good, ma'am. She used to tell, only in under emergency only have to take. And she used to get relieved of that pain. And after some time of for 1 year or 2 years, they don't have any pains, really. After many long months, they will come back and again they will ask for the same medicine which I have given. I will convince them that it should not be taken and it is prohibited, something like that. Or otherwise, I would have given some other medicine, telling that this is the medicine I have to take. So that psychological aspect, no, that trust and that belief system actually acts, not the medicine. That belief in the doctor.
Yeah,
and the Hastavasi, they will tell in Telugu.
Yes. Hastavasi. Correct. Excellent story, Dr. Himona Nelli. And I would like to add to this group of people who have met her for the first time. She's an amazing singer as well. In fact, I think when she was examining a patient, she also hummed a nice song along "They'll Be Healed Then and There on the Spot." That is
Ragas, they cured the certain diseases also, no, sir?
Yes. They say some ragas can really heal.
I suggest them also to listen to those ragas and put in the video.
It heals. Wonderful. That's an amazing thing. That is, you heal not just the ailment, you heal the person from inside.
Yeah, every person and every disease, everything is unique, sir. You cannot, it's not told in the books in our subject. You
In
have
fact,
to
it's
touch.
in fact, very, very, when I say personal touch, that's very important. Stories, engaging stories with a personal touch. What's the objective of my telling story with a personal touch? It is not just entertainment. It is important to change the person's, transform the person in the form of, in terms of thinking.
Yes.
And much of the literature that's available in India, the Shastric literature that's available in India, have stories that say how the master has taught the student using the analogy of story or something, just to demonstrate certain things. Beautiful stories are told just to demonstrate. The mantra is expressed in the form of a story. At the end of the story, the mantra will be told again. So the power of the storytelling, not just like the first 3 steps, take you right up to the last 3 steps as well. Wonderful, wonderful, Dr. Hema. I invite any other person who would like to tell stories. Welcome, you can share anything. Share stories, and like the younger persons also who have been listening very patiently to share. Vandana Rao, would you like to share? You have been there right from the beginning. Nandini, would you like to share a story? A lot of people are there right from the beginning. Right from the beginning. You have been listening to stories.
Selvi, would you like to tell?
Yeah, Selvi, yes. If you want to tell a story in any other language, welcome. Pravina seems very eager, want to tell a story. Pravina, Vandana Rao, welcome. Please tell, Selvi. I think in that order you could say.
No.
Yeah, Vandana Rao, you would like to tell a story?
I
I'm a happy listener today. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Some distortion. I'm not able to hear you. Okay, Selvi, would you like to tell a story? No? Why not? Switch off your camera so that you're not self-conscious. And then you can tell a story. If you want to. I would like you to see one more thing that a story does to you is it aligns your thinking. The thoughts are here. And when the story comes down to here and you start telling it, there's a lot of alignment that takes place. Your thoughts, you have this very often the feeling, the coin drop feeling, The thoughts are here running all over the place. Can you bring it in alignment and tell it in the form of a story? Temple tracker caught in a traffic snarl can be a story. Waiting in the queue for buying a jalebi can be a story. Waiting to board the train can be a story. Missing the train can be a story. What if I miss the train can be a story. Anything can be a story. And stories you have to imagine. I had to take a session once for a commercial bank, regular bank. And in the bank, there is a function called currency chests. That means they hold stock of currency for the Reserve Bank of India. It is not looked at as the bank's currency. It is looked at as Reserve Bank's currency. You are holding a small part of the Reserve Bank's stock. And Reserve Bank keeps supplying money and takes money from that currency. And there is a person who sits there, a team. Those people are called currency chest officers. It's usually a 2-year assignment. And is perhaps the most boring assignment ever because you sit underground. There is no human being to stare at. You have to look at the currency notes and feel that how I wish I had all these notes. And nothing belongs to you. And you have few crores lying down there. Okay, and this is how you spend 2 years of your life underground. And then you're not rated very highly because you have not performed anything. What have you done? Just received cash, sent cash. What's your performance? Why do you need a promotion? They never take into account that you didn't miss even 1 day of accounting. So they once called me and said, you have to address 48 currency chest officers. These 48 currency chest officers are all in their mid-40s. They've all missed a promotion or two. And they have perhaps hit rock bottom when it comes to personal motivation. And the session was at 2:30 in the afternoon. After a good solid lunch. Do you think they'll listen to you? They will go to sleep. And then I asked the person who called me, I said, what's your idea? You want me lynched by these people and you wanted me to give them a motivating talk. And they said, no, you're the only guy who can engage them, so please come. So I went there at 2 o'clock and then I said, what do you talk to people? Already demotivated. They see no scope of promotion for the next couple of years. And you have to tell them, work hard. Now, what do you tell them? So I went there and I told them, look, I have not come here to give a lecture. I won't tell you a story today. Because wherever I go, they announce that Mohan retired reserve banker, now storyteller. So I told them, I'm going to tell you a story. And I told a story like this, that this morning, while at prayers, while doing my prayers, my friend T.H. Lawrence is joined from Kerala. He is my friend from the Reserve Bank. He was my assistant manager, then I was currency officer in Bombay. So then I was telling the story to the bankers. I told them, this morning when I was praying, I prayed, oh Lord, and I prayed so devotedly that God chose to appear. He came in person and told me. This is how I started the session, training session. So the God came in person and asked me, oh Bhakta, I'm so touched by your devotion. Tell me, what do you want? What boon do you want? So I told God, you have now put me in Madras, Chennai. And it was May or June in Chennai. Very hot. You can't believe how hot it is in Chennai. So hot in Chennai, no water supply. They supply water to you for 1 hour every day. And you have to manage with it for the rest of it. I told them, this is the situation in Chennai. You are God. Now, can you not do can you not do something? Can you not ensure that Chennai gets 6 hours of water per day? God said, what rubbish are you talking, man? You're talking about the impossible? Ask me for some other boon. So then I told God, oh God, can you give me some tips how to make currency chest officers happy? God said, hey, that water proposition is better. Let us discuss that. I started with this story. And 48 people who had not seen promotion, who are sitting at the most boring jobs, virtually rolled on the floor and laughed. I thought that comes a time in life when you have to look at your situation with hilarity. Learn to laugh at yourself sometimes. And if you do that, you can be unconditionally happy. That was the lesson I carry. And the talk, which was meant to be for 2.5 hours, went for 4.5 hours plus. So it is not just a stock. Storytelling can do amazing work for you. Now, Selvi, are you motivated to tell a story?
Could I say something?
Please. Oh, welcome, Eric.
Yes, a few moments ago you said before we tell a story, we have to kind of gather our thoughts.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, especially relating to telling our personal experiences, we have to gather our thoughts because we have to frame it in a certain way, because usually a story is going to have a point. And we need to set it up so that the point really comes across. Is that did you relate to that kind of thinking?
Yes, exactly, Eric. The point has to be very clear. But in modern day story, I won't call it modern day or older day storytelling. There are two types of storytelling in which one you can dictate the thought yourself, that this is the kind of ending that I would like. There is another form, I would like the thoughts to evolve. Yeah, Kanak Durga Ramesh, I'll come back to laughing at yourself. I'll give you a couple of incidents here. So, you have to let, for example, there are youngsters here. Yeah, I'm so happy to see youngsters like Selvi, Pravina, and these people, the kind of challenges they are going to face in the next 10 to 12 years, going to be much different from the challenges we faced. Well, I had no problem. When my father told me, go get married, and I got married. And if Selvi's father is going to tell her, go get married, she said, who are you to decide whether I should get married? Who I should get married to, where I should get married to is my business. It is not just, I'm just telling a story. Okay. So they have a lot more challenges. So rather than be pedagogish in my storytelling, I would prefer, that's when I said, learn to write your own endings. I develop a point. Let's say I'm a movie maker. I make 1 hour, 10 minutes of the movie. The last 10 minutes to each one of you, I say, you write the end. You decide in Basha whether Mammootty should die or Rajinikanth should die. In Kerala, they made Rajinikanth die. But in Tamil Nadu, they dare not make him die. In Tamil Nadu, the MGR dare not die. Whereas if the movie was made in Hollywood, it didn't matter who died, in what scene. So I would, I take up Eric's point, like frame. That's a very beautiful word he used, your structure. You collect your thoughts, align it, structure it, leave a small window open where the listener could perhaps come to his own ending, own conclusion. Can that be a different form of a story? I would like people to think on that. It'll be very, very helpful. Why sit on judgment on every little thing? Now I'm going to try and answer Kanaka Durga Ramesh's question. Laughing at yourself. I have to go back to my banking scenario. Many of these currency notes that get damaged by handling, by fire, these cannot be exchanged over the counter. You have to send it to the Reserve Bank of India. Now procedures have changed a lot. You have to send it to the Reserve Bank of India. And in the Reserve Bank of India, we look at those notes and we find it's perfectly okay. I, as currency officer, sign on top of the note, and the note is exchanged for full value or whatever. If I say it is not payable, then I put a rejected stamp, the note is not payable, destroyed beyond recognition. So that procedure, as a currency officer, I carry out myself. And you have to see to believe it. Some of these notes are, remain underwater for 3-4 years. You can understand how decomposed and how badly smelling they'll be. So when we do this procedure, we have a team of about 3 or 4 people, and I have to wear that mask, gloves, and then look at each note very carefully. And that's where many of us become short-sighted. You have to start using glasses after that. And then we sign very clearly with a red pen. So as I was passing these notes, it's a very tedious job. It takes 3 hours, means it's like doing a skilled surgery kind of thing. I do surgery on a currency. So when it is done, the tea boy brings it and leaves a cup of tea nearby because it's very taxing. We like to keep sipping something. So what happened was I was passing note and there was a mask across my face. I didn't realize it. I picked up a cup of tea and tried to drink it. And the customer was sitting in the front. The customer is another bank. He is sitting at the front. My juniors are sitting at the front. And the tea boy is watching. All of them are watching. How is this fellow going to drink with a mask across his nose and mouth? When I tried to, then I looked at all of them and they all started giggling. Then I took off the mask, and that was the loudest laugh at my own mistake. So when you learn to laugh at your own follies, it is no longer a folly. It doesn't hurt you. It makes you vulnerable. It makes you acknowledge a fact that you, I, everyone else is emotionally, physically vulnerable. When I acknowledge the fact that I am vulnerable, there is no need to become proud and look for respect and things like that. I'm perfectly okay being vulnerable. And wonderful word. Vandanara, glad acceptance. Wonderful word used. I'm happy being myself with my own mistakes, and the what here is perfectly acceptable. So when you accept yourself as you are, I actually find there is nothing to be sad about. I only find very often it happens. Hey, how often have you held the phone upside down and tried to say hello, 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 and then you say, oh my God, how silly. You put it back. How often have you not turned on the camera, we are on mute button and continue talking. And somebody said, sir, you are on mute, sir, please switch to. There's a lot to laugh about in our own follies, and we are all fallible. And when you accept the fact that you're fallible, you are a human being. And a human can tell wonderful stories. Reach the human being, be a human being. It's a wonderful story. Anyone else would like to tell a story? We have another 15 minutes roughly. After that, we can open the door. After one or two more stories, if you want to, we can throw the floor open for some questions. Or
Sir, I would like to.
Yes, Raman.
Tell a couple of stories which are topical.
Please do.
See,
Welcome.
You see, we are in the election mode. Elections are going to happen very soon. I attended election duty as a presiding officer, polling officer, and this sort of thing. And I have a couple of very interesting incidents which happened to me while working as an election officer. Number one, this is not my personal experience. The beginning of the story, it is what I saw, rather, not inside the frame. This is in 1952, I think 52. That was the time when the parties were given symbols like Congress, I think, had 2 bulls with yoke on, and things like that, pot and all that. And our local person was contesting on the cock symbol. And we were all doing rounds for him. Vote for the cock, vote for the cock, vote for the cock, sort of thing. And in those days, if you vote for us, you can come out and claim 2 liters, some measures of rice and
Okay.
2 rupees. So this started even 1952.
Oh,
That is the point. So when my father attended as a polling officer, he had this story to tell. You see, after 10 people came in a group, they all went in and they cast their ballots. There were different boxes for different candidates. You have to put it in the proper box. Of course, you will not be in view. Nobody will know where you are putting your ballot. Okay. Now, after coming out, the group leader, the fellow who was leading the group, he has been requested to vote for the cock symbol. And he has been promised 2 measures of rice and 2 rupees per person and all that. The fellow came out, saw the representative of that cock symbol man, and he asked him, "Oh, what a fool you are. You didn't tell me there is a lion symbol. Why should I vote for the cock? I voted for the lion." So that is the way it went. The other incident is I worked as a polling officer in one Chennai, Mofussil Chennai constituency. It is Otiambakam. I don't know where it is. It is somewhere very far off from Saidapet.
how did you reach there?
Otiambakam, we traveled a great deal by bus reaching that place. I think it should be more familiar to people now. Anyway, Otiambakam is the place. And when we went for the election duty, we were supposed to arrive previous night and stay there, so that we can start polling at 7 a.m. to day next. So we went and we found that there was no place to stay and no shop to sell us any food whatsoever. And when we put the question to the Panchayat chairman who was there, he said, no, sir, there are no hotels, there are no buses. The buses have gone for the day. You can take food in my home. And he fed us. And we were surprised to see that only 2 posters in all were displayed in the whole of the village. Only 2 posters, that too on bamboo thatches. So one is the ruling party at that time. The other is the prominent opposition party at that time. We were quite surprised. And the Panchayat chairman said, we have a we have a local, what shall we say, strictures. We know that both parties are represented here very strongly. We all assembled together and decided that only 1 poster will be allowed and only 1 speaker will be brought and do any propaganda from each section, etc., etc., etc. And what they did further was, Party A person was the representative for the Party B. And Party B person was a representative for the Party A, so that there will be no clash. So everything went on peacefully. Some 2 people come, they come for polling, and one representative says, "Oh, let him poll. We know he is casting the vote of a dead person." Okay, we have no objection. And the same thing happens on the other side also. This I could not believe my eyes that they can go so peacefully. And my own ballot was lost, because I was on election duty. I didn't get the postal ballot and all that. We had nothing to do after 10:30. Everybody who is worth their salt have come on board very peacefully. There is no clash, no nothing. We have not started packing up because somebody may come after all. So we were just chatting, okay. And then at that time, I casually told them, "Oh, you see, it's a fine place you are having. All this kattupadu, the strictures. These are very ideal. I wish the entire India can follow your procedure. So peaceful, everything went very nice." And I told them, my only regret is, I started saying, "Oh, you have a regret? What's it, sir? What's it?" And I told them, I would have liked to put a my own ballot for the candidate of my choice. That didn't happen because I didn't. You know what they said? Both of them joined together and told me, sir, this is not an issue at all. We have so many names outstanding in the list. Strike off 10 names, take 10 ballot and go and vote for whoever you like. This is from a local to the polling officer. Just believe that. I told them, no. I am supposed to be a polling officer. I am not supposed to break the rules like that. Thank you for the offer. My candidate will have to win with one vote less or lose.
Yeah.
We have more than one vote less. That is all. So I say that doesn't affect me either way. I tell them, I saluted them twice over. We had our lunch as well with in the Panchayat chairman's house, where a grandma was serving us rasam sadam and all that. One of the happiest memories of election work in my life. Thank you.
Do you believe in life after death? Was a question somebody asked.
I will go and find out.
So he said, no. He said, no, why? What do you mean believe? It is happening. This fellow died last year and he has just cast his vote now.
Yeah.
You will see it in front of you. Life after death, there are lives after death. Good. Selvi is now ready to tell her story. I'm so happy. A young person is coming forward. Welcome, Selvi.
Okay, sir. Actually, I'm sharing my life experience. Actually, 2 years ago, shall I start in Tamil, sir?
Oh, yeah. Tell it in Tamil. No issues, Selvi.
2 yearsக்கு முன்னாடி வந்து என் அப்பாக்கு வந்து சுகர் இருக்கு. ஸோ வந்து ரெஸ்ட் ரூம் போயிட்டு ஃபேன் ஆன் பண்ண முடியல அவரால். ஆன் பண்ணி வெளியில வந்துட்டு அவரால் சுத்தமா ஃபேன் ஆன் பண்ண முடியாம ரொம்ப வேர்த்து கொட்டி ஒரு ப்ராப்பரான பிரீதிங் இல்லாம சீரியஸ் கண்டிஷன்ல வந்து விழுந்துட்டாரு அப்பா. கையெல்லாம் பாக்குறப்ப ரொம்ப சில்லுன்னு ஆயிடுச்சு. எனக்கு என்ன பண்றதுன்னு அப்போ தெரியல. நான் ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் கிளினிக் தான் இருந்தது வீடு பக்கத்துல. ஸோ நான் வண்டி எடுத்துட்டு நான் போய் நான் டாக்டரை கூட்டிட்டு வரேம்மா, என் அப்பா கூட இரு. நான் வந்து ஒரே பொண்ணுதான் வீட்டுக்கு. நான் அப்ப வந்து ஓடினேன் எங்க அப்பாக்காக. நான் 2-3 தடவை நான் போயிட்டு வந்தேன். டாக்டர் இல்ல. நான் மெடிக்கல்லையும் கேட்டேன், இந்த மாதிரி யாராவது ஹெல்ப் பண்ண எப்போ வருவாங்க, கால் ஆச்சு பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் நான் போயிட்டு வந்தேன். செகண்ட் டைம் அவங்க திரும்பியும் நான் போனேன் ஹாஸ்பிட்டல்ல கேட்கறதுக்கு. அப்போ வந்து திருப்பி நான் வீட்டுக்கு வரப்பதான் பாக்குறேன் அப்பா வந்து ஓரளவுக்கு ஸ்டேபிளா உட்கார்ந்தாரு. உடனே போயிட்டு ஆட்டோக்காரங்களை கூட்டிட்டு வந்து உடனே அப்புறம் டாக்டர் வந்துட்டாங்க. சேம் கிளினிக் கூட்டு போனோம். அவங்க வந்து பாத்துட்டு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் என்கிட்ட எதுவுமே சொல்லல. அவங்க எனக்கு நெக்ஸ்ட் டே வந்து அவங்க சொல்றாங்க, இந்த மாதிரி உங்க அப்பாக்கு வந்து பல்ஸ் ரேட் ரொம்ப டவுன் ஆயிடுச்சுமா, அதனாலதான் உங்களை வந்து பெரிய ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் அங்க அப்பவே கூட்டு போசணும் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி சொன்னாங்க. சோ எனக்கு வந்து அந்த டைம்ல வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எய்ட் பண்றது எப்படின்னு தெரியாது, எனக்கு சிபிஆர் எப்படி பண்ணணும்னு தெரியாது. சோ எனக்கு அதனாலயே நான் வந்து சுத்திக்கிட்டு அலைஞ்சிக்கிட்டு இருந்தேன். ஒருவேளை எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருந்தா நான் அந்த டைம்ல ஏதாவது கொஞ்சமாச்சும் அவருக்கு ஹெல்ப் பண்ணிருந்து நான் அந்த சுத்தி இருக்க டைம் நான் இது பண்ணிருக்கலாம். சோ நான் இப்ப வந்து நான் செகண்ட் MAHRM பண்றேன். என் காலேஜ்ல இன்டர்ன்ஷிப் வந்து தருண் சார் ஆஃபீஸ்லயே வந்து எனக்கு சொல்லியிருந்தாங்க. ஸோ நான் அவர்கிட்டதான் இப்போ இன்டர்ன் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். அண்ட் நான் ஜாயின் பண்ண ஃபர்ஸ்ட் 2 டேஸ்மே வந்து ஒர்க் ஷாப் போயிருந்தோம். நான் அதுலயே நிறைய வந்து அவர்கிட்ட இருந்து கத்துக்கிட்டேன். இப்போ எப்படி சிபிஆர் பண்ணணும், ஸ்ட்ரோக் ஆச்சுன்னா எப்படி பண்ணணும், அண்ட் பேண்டேட் எப்படி பண்ணணும், எல்லாமே இப்போதான் நான் வந்து கத்துக்கிறேன். ஸோ ஐ வாஸ் ரியலி ப்ரவுட் நவ். நானுமே இப்போ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எய்ட் கோர்ஸ் வந்து நான் கத்துக்கிட்டு இருக்கேன். ஸோ ஐ எம் ஜஸ்ட் ப்ரவுட் ஆஃப் இட் சார்.
So excellent, Selvi. Excellent. The story of how a small domestic emergency motivated her to become a first aid personnel. And it happened near at home, not only near at home, to a person very close to her father. She saw the condition her father was in, who had passed into acute danger. Is the father okay now, Selvi?
Yes, sir, he's okay now.
What a wonderful thing. And motivated you to become a HRM person, MAHRM. And wonderful. I'm so happy. நீங்க ஸ்டோரி சொன்னதுலயே உங்களோட பெருமை, அந்த நீங்க உங்க அச்சீவ் பண்றதோட பெருமை தெரியுது. and self-confidence.
Thank
May
you,
you
sir.
become a much, much bigger story. I mean, not only a storyteller, also a big first aid person. நீங்க ஸ்டோரிஸாலேயே
Thank
நிறைய
you.
வேற ஹீல் பண்ணிட்டு. Very nice. So nice. Yes, we have just 7 minutes left. Now, people who want to share thoughts on what they learned, what is your takeaway from this 1 hour session, and what can you do to promote storytelling in your own small way? People can share. You're welcome. As you put your hand up, we'll unmute you. You can share. Anyone can share. What can you do in your own small way to promote? Yeah. Yes, Vandana.
So I am a school librarian, so I can use the techniques with my children. Am I audible now? Am I
Perfect.
audible now?
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, Mohan sir. So what I feel is today the takeaways were they say no, by listening you learn a lot. By listening, by seeing. So I think this is the second one I attended. So I just learned many things, and yeah, it was a learning experience. Thank
Wonderful.
you. That's my
Wonderful,
takeaway.
Vandana Rao. Wonderful. Listening to her talk about, my children and things like that suddenly triggered a memory. There was a teacher who, a gentleman was a banker. My examples go to a banker in a cash counter. He receives a phone call. You are the father of one of my children. This fellow got stunned and he got a heart attack. Then he realized this call is from a school teacher. Sure. Wonderful. Just a matter of I go to the next person who wants to give a feedback. Any person. Unmute and Dr. Arvind.
Very nice to take part, sir. Learn so many things. How to talk, rather, more than a story also, and how to talk and how to make the thing interesting for others.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Lawrence, I'm happy to see you here after a very long time. Lawrence is my friend. You're in Trivandrum now, isn't it, Lawrence? Lawrence must be in Trivandrum. He runs on Facebook, he runs a small facility in which he teaches correct.
Yes, sir. I am in Trivandrum. I'm sorry, I muted my.
That's okay. Yeah. Lawrence has always been a good English teacher in our office days as well. And he runs a forum where he says you have to teach English and how English should be spoken or written the correct way. And then there's now called a brand of English called Indian English. And there is it is not just Indian English, it's Tamil English, it's Telugu English, it's Bombay English, it's Kerala English, Bengali English, it is Delhi English, it is Indian English. Amazing. And then in a recent request, I had a request from a Western firm. They said, can you teach us English as she should be spoken in India?
Okay, sir. Thank you for the compliments.
And Lawrence is very correct. Many usages are wonderful, and it's a pleasure, especially in a language when you can speak well. And even today, you would have seen in the forum speaking in different accents, different styles. Wonderful. Nice having you here, Lawrence.
Yes.
Anybody else would like to share thoughts with?
I appreciate your oratory faculty, I have seen it many a time, and ever since we have been together.
Yeah, I made a small change. I'm no longer an orator. I've just become a storyteller. In oratory, there's a lot of pedagogy.
Of course, that's
and
true.
a lot of talking down to people.
Yes, yes.
When I tell stories, looking into the eyes of people, eyes open out. I see the spark in the eyes.
Yes, yes.
And I see transformation happening inside, and that's fascinating. That's fascinating. You tell a story, and then that means you're taking the person seriously.
Yes,
See, I used to tell
yes,
stories to my daughter when she was very young. I also tell it to my granddaughter. Granddaughter will come to me and say, Tata, story. She will listen to my story and sleep. My daughter used to come to me and tell stories, and now she's a married woman, 30 plus. The other day she tells me, Papa, I learned something from your storytelling. I said, what? You took me so seriously. You never took me for granted. You never told me kuchiku stories. You told me real stories looking into my eyes.
Yes.
believing me as a human. And today she's a 30+ professional doing very well in life. And she's telling stories to a lot of. So it can do amazing work. Storytelling can do amazing work. Two important things which I would like to tell you. Chennai Storytelling Festival happens every year. I would like you to join in large numbers, and young storytellers should come forward and tell stories. Selvi would like to listen to you in Chennai Storytellers in Tamil itself. We have a Tamil storytelling. I would like you all to come and join us in a big way and take this movement forward. And for the concluding remarks, Dr. Eric Miller.
It's been a wonderful workshop. The personal touch, and part of it is the body language, and part of it is well, you know, people talk about voice modulation, but I don't really think about voice modulation. I think about emotions, feelings.
Oh yeah, wonderful.
And when you're speaking as characters, it's acting.
Yes.
So, you know, you can say louder, softer, faster, slower, but the point is you're acting, you're inside the body and soul of a character. And so it's much bigger than just voice modulation. So I think many of the storytellers today demonstrated this. Also as narrators, sometimes we get emotionally involved. And we naturally change our voice and our body language. So this was all demonstrated today by you and others in an seemingly effortless way. And I think that's part of your point, to be able to tell in a natural, effortless way, you know, as if you're just talking to people, which we are. My personal goal when I'm telling a story is to make people forget that I'm telling a story.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I just want them to think, hey, we're talking about something, and oh, did someone tell a story? How nice.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful, Eric. There's a person, Shakti, who wanted to share something, but she's not able to raise her hand. Never mind. Please share. Shakti, you can unmute and share.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can hear you and see you.
We can hear
Go
you.
ahead.
Yeah.
Hi, Shakti. I'm a graphic designer in Coimbatore. I was not able to join the call earlier. I joined somewhere midway. So I just like to share a few things that I noticed and a few things that I learned through the.
Please do.
So I really liked a couple of things. How you mentioned being vulnerable and accepting that you can fail and making use of it within your storytelling, and Eric sir's remarks on gathering your thoughts before you talk and having a point. So on that line, from the few stories that I've noticed, two things sort of inspired me to keep listening. So one of it is from, I think it was Raman sir's story about the election ballots.
Yeah.
So I am a 2000s born. So the fact that he was telling a story about the 1950s and 60s, and understanding the world that you did not live in, being curious about what you don't know, sort of kept me in the within the story. And two, about both the life-saving events. One about the father and one about the drowning.
Yes.
Both of it had really good impacts on somebody and how much it meant for them. So that was really good, an impression that a story creates on you. So yeah, I really liked it, and the session was really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Shakti. Nice. So we had planned this originally for about 3 hours, and then we said 2 hours should be ideal. 2 hours are now completed. If with the permission of all of you, Eric, we could possibly wind up the session. Thank you very much, all of you, for being an enjoy.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Mohan. That was a great workshop.
Good day. Jai Hind.
Great.
Jai.